Coming up on City Scene, it's more than the ABCs of CPR. Fire rescue trains for a new CPR technique. And it's not just green that's springing up around town. We check in on 2 big construction projects. Finally, from 4 wheels to 2, we celebrate Bike Month. Welcome to City Scene right here on CityLink, where each month we go all around the departments in the city of Sioux Falls. Today we start with something where not just minutes but seconds matter, and that's a heart attack. And providing CPR in those moments can make a difference between life and death. But a new CPR training technique could be helping Sioux Falls Fire Rescue keep people safer and save more lives.
Hi, I'm Battalion Chief Steve Fessler with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, and today we're here talking about pit crew CPR. I'd like to introduce you to Amy Marsh. She's our EMS educator, and get a little more information on pit crew CPR. What's the history of pit crew CPR?
Well, a pit crew CPR model was a process that we talked about for the last, a little over a year within the city of Sioux Falls as a way to increase the survivability of patients in cardiac arrest. And so the model comes about from the NASCAR system of pit crews and how they are so efficient in each of their personal actions. Somebody that's changing a tire or putting fuel on, that they have an assigned role, and they're really efficient at that. And so what we've done is we've taken the positions that you would use in CPR and assigned members of our department along with the different departments in the city to be able to take that action.
Which departments are involved with that?
Well, what we have currently for response of a cardiac arrest is Sioux Falls Fire, Sioux Falls Police Department, and the ambulance service in Sioux Falls, which is currently Paramedics Plus.
Okay, and how do each of those departments fit into the system?
Sure. When we went to define and identify the roles within the pit crew model, we looked at Sioux Falls Police Department as normally one of the first responders on the scene, and we gave them that opportunity to make sure that they are well versed in how to perform CPR, making sure that they start by doing compressions and then utilizing the AED. Every vehicle within the police department here in Sioux Falls has an AED at their readily use.
Okay. What kind of effect will the citizens of Sioux Falls see with this new pit crew style?
So when we're looking at pit crew CPR, we're looking at someone specifically defined to take the role of compressions. The American Heart Association has come out in saying that the most important thing that we can do for a patient in cardiac arrest is compressions. And so we've defined that role. And so what we're hoping to see with each role that we have utilized, that we will see an increase in survivability of the patients in our community. And so we have a great survival rate for the city of Sioux Falls, but we wanted to make it better. That's always our goal within the city, is to make sure that we are doing the most that we can for the citizens of Sioux Falls. And so with that model is we're hoping that we see an increase in the return of spontaneous circulation out in the field, so that when we take a person to the hospital, that they are already on their way to coming back to their life.
Okay. So what can the citizens also do on their own to help out or to learn more?
Sure. And in the city, Sioux Falls Fire offers a public CPR class once a month, and you can find that information on our website. We also, challenge people to make sure that they are always aware that we're public access AEDs. Our project, Pit Crew CPR, relies upon the citizens of our community to also be part of that process, and that means that they're identifying where the AEDs are located, that they know how to do CPR, and that they get help coming in as quickly as possible.
Yep. Yes, making that call to 911 is important. Thanks, Amy. For more information on CPR, go to siouxfalls.org/fire. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Battalion Chief Fessler. Now to road construction. Spring is in the air and so are those cones, meaning it's time to see a lot of big projects make big progress around Sioux Falls.
Well, today we are out on Louise Avenue from 41st to 49th Street, one of the biggest projects for the City of Sioux Falls. And we welcome back to the show Dustin Poston from our engineering office. He's the project manager of this project. So there's been a lot of work going on out here on Louise. Can you give our viewers an update on where we started and where we're at today?
Sure. So the contractor started in March and we had pretty good weather, so they were able to get a jump start on things. And the priority has been to work on the underground utilities. Okay. And so to this point they have most of the water main installed, a lot of the trunk sewer, storm sewer installed up through 41st Street. And then they're going to start working on prepping the subgrade for pavement here soon. So
okay.
Yeah, they've got a lot of work done because we've had pretty good weather to date.
So Dustin, starting in March is not really typical for a lot of our construction projects. Just because of the size of this project, is that why the contractor wanted to start so early?
Yeah, I think that's part of it, to make sure that there's enough time to get the work done. Also, the long-range forecast was generally showing pretty good weather, and we weren't showing cold weather that would have slowed down concrete work and things like that. So we made the decision to start, and it's worked out so far.
So as we're standing here, we certainly continue to see a lot of traffic that goes by. Have you noticed have the cars diminished since you started, or is it still being used on a pretty daily basis?
Yeah, there's still pretty steady traffic throughout the day because it's a commercial area. There's not really the same peaks you'd have in a commuter type route, but you do see just a steady stream of traffic. Folks going to the various businesses through here, so it's something we have to work with, but we're used to it and we were ready for it.
Okay, so this next phase that the contractor is working on is at the intersection and 49th Street, right?
That's correct, yeah. So they're working on finishing the major utilities in the intersection of 49th Street. Okay. And so that closure will remain into early July is what we're anticipating right now. And then the priority will be preparing for pavement north on Louise Avenue from 49th Street through 41st. That'll be the priority in May.
So if you had to describe the utility maze, would you just call it that, just a maze? Because a lot of our drivers have no idea what goes on underground.
Right.
So how does that coordination, talk to us a little bit about how does the coordination go on between the contractor, the city, and the private utilities?
Sure. Yeah, so during the design we do as much as we can trying to find the location of the utilities, the depths, where potential conflicts might be, and then design around that. But you can only see snapshots of what's underground until you start digging. And so when we get here, there are conflicts that we have to work with those utilities, get them out here, adjust. And the contractor has to be flexible and work with that. And everyone's done a pretty good job with that.
Okay, so with 49th Street, that west leg being closed, how do people access our businesses then on that west leg?
Sure, yeah, good question. So we do have a detour route sign. So signs are up for businesses, and depends which way they're coming on 49th Street, but there's a detour that would get folks to those local businesses using Valhalla and Technology and 53rd, and there's a temporary signal at 53rd. So if anyone's going to any of these businesses, there'll be signs for them, so they should find that.
So when that leg of 49th Street gets back open, are there any more closures that our drivers should be aware of for the rest of the season?
There won't be any closures like that. We will have driveway closures temporarily as we repair driveways and replace them. We'll be shifting traffic from one side to the other, and all those things we'll provide notice to the drivers before that happens.
Okay. So how big of a project was this again?
This is a $9.4 million contract.
And is it a out-of-town contractor or a local contractor?
It's a local contractor, D&G Construction.
D&G, okay. Yep. So they do a lot of our work in town.
They do.
Okay,
they do.
Excellent. And so have there been any challenges, I guess, or is there any type of information you want to give to our drivers that are driving in the area as far as any helpful advice on getting to locations or anything?
No, I mean, we do have signs up, so you can pay attention to the signs if you're getting somewhere, and we've had pretty good luck. People have been slowing down through the area, and we definitely encourage people to slow down as they drive through here. But they should come to the businesses here, and we'll maintain access and get people in and out. So
I know as just a driver, when I've only come through the construction site a couple times over the last month, but so many things are changing that it's fun just to drive through to see how quickly the progress is progressing.
Yes, you are an engineer, Shannon.
Yeah,
I can tell.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We're heading over to 69th and Western next.
All right.
Well, our next and last stop is out on the south part of the city at 69th Street and Western, which is the other big project that's impacting our drivers for the season. We welcome back to the show Josh Van den Bos. Josh, this is your project and it's been under construction for about a couple, 3-4 weeks, maybe even a month. Can you give our viewers an update of what's going on in the next month?
Well, Shannon, right now we are on the north side of 69th Street and the west side of Western. The contractor started about the middle of April, and he anticipates making his way towards Minnesota Avenue in the coming weeks, and we'll pretty much do what we're doing here on grading, storm sewer water main work. You'll see some gravel here very soon, and then surfacing will follow that here probably sometime midsummer.
So much like Louise then, Josh, that contractor got started pretty early in March, and your contractor here got started in April. Is that pretty typical for projects?
Last year we had a wet spring. This year we've had a very dry, warm spring, so it just depends on the year, but typically mid-April is about as early as you want to get started.
Excellent. So what is the overall construction completion for this project?
Well, this project will go all the way into the early to late fall, with some anticipated work still for next spring.
Okay, so again, I'm going to compare your project to Louise. There's a lot of utility work that was going on Louise. So is the majority of your utility work under these first phases?
It's kind of hit or miss.
Okay.
Most of our utility work is just moving some storm sewer inlets and stubbing out some additional water lines.
Okay, so the added lanes here are going to be certainly a welcome addition for the neighborhood. Has there been a lot of support for the project?
There has been. The intersection, that was our number one priority that we heard from the neighborhood, is the intersection needs more capacity.
So there'll be permanent signals then going up at 69th and Western?
Correct.
And then are there any other signals being installed?
The first phase of the project, which they're up and running now, was traffic signals at Ralph Rogers and 69th Street.
Oh, that's great, because we had planned on doing those with the previous project, but we thought we'd wait until this project. So that'll be great for those neighborhoods to be able to get out on Western Avenue. Are there any pedestrian and bicycle improvements associated with the project?
There will be. There's a 10-foot shared use sidewalk, side path. That'll be on the west side of Western. That'll run from where we left off on the 57th and Western project and go south to La Quinta Street.
Okay. So who's your contractor on this one?
It is actually D&G Construction.
And that's the same one that's on Louise?
Correct.
So kind of explain to our viewers that process.
Well, when we bid, and we usually bid our projects in the spring, we go with the low bidder.
Okay.
And it happened to be D&G, which is the same as Louise.
So it's just by bidding then, or
Correct.
just by the low bidder. And this contractor, he's been a local guy for many years and has done a lot of projects. And so, is there any incentive on this particular project?
There isn't any incentive on this project.
It's just a big project to be able to get done in the time frame. Is that why we chose not to do an incentive?
Correct.
Okay. So what are the things you'd like our viewers to know about the project in the upcoming months?
In the upcoming months there, we'll be finishing phase 1 mid to late summer, which will be the north side of 69th Street and the north and west and all of Western north of 69th Street.
Okay.
And phase 2, which will start later in the summer, will be the south side of 69th Street and the south leg of Western south of 69th Street.
So those drivers will be able to start driving on some new, smooth, fresh surface after phase 1 then?
Correct.
Absolutely, great. Well, we certainly want to remind our viewers to drive slow through the construction zones, and we have weekly updates or bi-weekly updates on our website at siouxfalls.org. So stay tuned to the website, and if you do have questions, I know Josh would love to answer them, so give engineering a phone call. Thanks so much for your time today.
From cone zones to rolling on your bike, what you need to know to celebrate National Bike Month.
All around town, from stores to playgrounds, babies are on the move. And there are diseases that are on the move too. And some of these spread easily. To best protect him from 14 serious diseases by the time he turns 2 years old, vaccinate him according to the recommended schedule, so he can go on about his business and you can have peace of mind. For more reasons to vaccinate, talk to your child's doctor or go to cdc.gov/vaccines.
Looking for fun summer employment? Do you like working with kids? Look no further. Sioux Falls Parks and Recreation is seeking reliable teammates to work in a variety of summer seasonal roles. From playground staff and youth leaders to pool positions and lifeguards. To learn more about these opportunities, Log on to siouxfalls.org/parks-jobs. Positions begin at $10 per hour.
Welcome back. It's National Bike Month, and that means getting your training wheels off and heading out on your two wheels. Here's how you can celebrate and enjoy some of the many amenities for bike riders all around town.
Hi, spring is finally here and a lot of us are ready to be outside. Biking is one of those things that is an outside activity we love to do in the spring. And Mary Michaels with Live Well Sioux Falls is here with us today to talk about National Bike Month. Thanks for joining us, Mary.
Thanks, and it's really great to be here to talk about Bike Month, which is actually an awareness effort that's been around for over 60 years, just to talk about the benefits of bicycling and encourage people to give riding a bike a try.
Oh, yes, and many of us have ridden bikes since we were a very young age. We start really young, but it has lifelong benefits. People can bike way into their 70s, 80s, 90s maybe. So talk to us some about that benefit.
Yeah, well, you know, it's great to learn biking as a kid, because then it gives you that freedom to get out and play with your friends or maybe ride your bike to school. But even as we grow into adulthood, that simple act of riding a bike has many benefits. And it might be something like saving money on gas when you swap your car for a bike ride, you know, to run errands or to drive to work. You can save some time in your daily commute. If you have some routes that take you out of that car traffic, you can actually get to your destination maybe a little faster. And certainly riding your bike is good for the environment when you're decreasing the number of trips that you're taking in a car. It's good for the environment. And then obviously riding your bike is good for your health. When you're pumping those pedals, you're also pumping your heart. And actually a new study just came out in the last week or so that says that, hey, if you want to add years to your life, ride your bike, because that physical activity of riding your bike can actually help you decrease your risk for disease like heart disease.
Those are some wonderful benefits. And the City of Sioux Falls has done a lot with biking and bike trails, that kind of thing, and even has a bike committee. So talk to us a little bit about some of the things that the City of Sioux Falls has done.
We really have a great city team that looks at bicycling and how we can improve it in Sioux Falls. And many different city departments are actually involved with bicycling efforts. Everybody from Parks and Recreation, Planning, Public Works, and of course our own health department, all working together to look at how do we improve bicycling in the city. And it can be anything from just having a bike plan to talk about where we want to go in the future with bicycling and creating that environment that makes it easy for people to bike, but also things like where can we put bike lanes or sharrows on the street. And those sharrows are those funny little symbols you see with the arrows and the bike, and really it just is identifying those streets that are good routes for bicyclists to use. And that's part of the awareness campaign, is to let bikes know they can be on the street, and many times it's actually safer for them to be on the street.
Speaking of bike safety, talk to us about some bike safety tips. We always want people to be out there safe, not get hurt when they're out biking, and have other people aware of bicyclists on the streets and on the bike trails especially.
Yeah, safety is important, and right here, this is kind of number one for the bicyclist: wearing a helmet and making sure that your helmet is fitted properly. You know, whether you're an adult rider or a young child rider, you really want to have that piece of safety equipment. Certainly spring is a good time for a tune-up of your bike, checking your brakes, checking your tires. And we have some outstanding bike shops in Sioux Falls, and they are always ready to help people make sure their bike is ready to go, to help ensure your helmet is fitted properly. So just make sure, you know, before you even walk out the door, you have all the equipment that's ready to go. And then beyond that, once you're out and about and riding, it's things like using the proper hand signals. If you're riding a bike and you're going to come to a stop or make a turn, to use the proper signals to alert everybody else where you're going. And it is riding properly with traffic. As I mentioned, bikes can and should be on the street when you're comfortable to be there, and knowing how to take the lane and riding at the proper speed and stopping at any intersection if you're a bike. Even, you know, if you happen to be on a bike path or a sidewalk that crosses a driveway or a street, you want to come to that stop just like you would in a car. And one thing that we've seen happen in Sioux Falls between cars and bikes is something that's called the right hook. So if you're in a car making a right-hand turn, a lot of times you only look to the left to look for car traffic. You may not look to the right and see that there's a bicyclist there waiting to cross the street. So what we always tell bicyclists is make sure you've made eye contact with a driver before you cross through an intersection, so you know you've been seen, but also then for the driver, making sure that you're looking left and then right before you make that right-hand turn. And we actually have a fabulous safety video on our website, livewellsiouxfalls.org, and you can watch that and get tips both for the driver and for the bicyclist to make sure we are sharing the road and watching out for one another.
That's fabulous. So, so tell us some about the celebrations that have gone on in the month of May to celebrate National Bike Month.
Well, you know, Sioux Falls, one of our crown jewels really is our bike trail. And so if nothing else, a great way to celebrate Bike Month is just to get out and explore our community on that bike trail. Our Parks and Recreation does a great job maintaining the trail. They have a new interactive map on their website where you can go and look on your phone on segments of the trail. You get updates on if there's any trail maintenance happening, so you know what routes are good to ride. And just it's a fun way to get out there and really learn to ride if you haven't done a lot of long distance riding, and really to see the community. So, you know, taking the family or friends out for a bike ride on the trail is one great way. And another thing that we really talk a lot about during the month of May is riding your bike to work. One of the weeks of May is always designated as a special bike to work week and encourages people, even if it's just one day, give it a try, swap your car for your bike and try riding to work. And then we have conversations with employers about how are those employers making it easier for their employees to ride the bike by offering bike parking or maybe some facilities for showering or storing their equipment once they get to work. But again, lots of cost and health benefits to using bikes, not only just for recreation, but also for transportation. And so we just encourage people to take this opportunity to get the bikes out, get them tuned up, ride them to work, ride them to the store if you're doing quick errands, and really enjoy being outside on your bike.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time. We're grateful for the information, and we really hope everybody gets out there and gets on those bikes and gets some great exercise now that our weather is finally turning nice.
That's right. And people can find lots of biking resources on our website at livewellsiouxfalls.org under Move Well.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, Mary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. Now, if you want to get some different type of exercise other than just riding your bike, how about getting some swimming lessons? Now, there are some changes you need to know about both lessons and swim passes.
Hi, I'm Jean Person with Sioux Falls Parks and Recreation, and I'm a recreation program coordinator. And what I handle are the outdoor pools as well as the Midco Aquatic Center. And today we're now into the month of May, and we're amping up to get our outdoor facilities up and running. Our opening date is slated for Friday, June 2nd, weather permitting. And so our team has been busy getting our pools ready. Our lifeguards are getting ready to get in the water and get their 2-week training in before the pools open, and we see people coming enjoying our facilities throughout the city. I'd like to take an opportunity to visit with you a little bit about our swimming lesson program for the summer. You may see some changes if you're a frequent flyer with us previously. You'll notice that we're not only offering two-week sessions at the outdoor facilities, but we'll also be offering two-week sessions at the indoor facility this summer. So starting the first week of June, right after school gets out, we'll be offering our first indoor summer session at the Midco Aquatic Center. You'll be able to choose from either morning or evening lessons at the indoor facility, and then at the outdoor facility, you'll notice that those sessions are starting 1 week later than they typically do to accommodate for the indoor lessons. So those 2-week sessions will be held at Frank, Keene, Laurel Oak, and Terrace Park, and they'll only be offered in the morning. We've moved all of our evening lessons to the Indoor Aquatic Center because we felt like it would be better temperature-wise. You don't have to deal with weather and that sort of thing, and so we're really excited to be able to offer both indoor and outdoor lessons 2 times at the Indoor Aquatic Center, and then we'll also be able to offer our 2-week sessions at the outdoor pools as well. So a lot of opportunity for folks to take swimming lessons this summer, and we look forward to a lot of people taking advantage of that. Last year, when we opened them up in the winter, we had a great response at the Midco Aquatic Center, and then our spring session was also quite full. So we're very excited that people in Sioux Falls are taking advantage of the opportunity to learn how to swim. It's a lifelong sport. It's a healthy activity for people, so we encourage you to take a look at what we have available and sign up early. As far as registration dates go, I would encourage you to take a look at our activities guide or online. You can certainly visit with the folks at the Midco Aquatic Center. If you're stopping by there, they'll gladly assist you, as well as the staff at the outdoor pools. They'll gladly assist you with information that you might need about the upcoming swimming lessons. So we're very excited about that. If you haven't had a chance now that it's May to purchase your swim pass, you can certainly do that. We will have some Super Saturdays coming up in May. That will be May 20th and May 27th. That event will run from 11 to 2 on both of those Saturdays, and they'll be held at Maricar Community Center as well as Morningside Community Center. Center. So if you haven't had a chance to get your swim pass, renew your swim pass, or learn about the available passes at the Midco Aquatic Center, we encourage you to stop by between 11 and 2, May 20th or 27th, to take care of your swim pass. So we look forward to seeing you at the pools this summer.
And finally today, the Old Courthouse Museum has a new exhibit about World War I you'll want to check out.
Well, this is World War I, the Great War, at the Old Courthouse Museum, and it's an exhibit on World War I, the involvement and impact on America from April 6, 1917 until the boys come marching home in early 1919. And it's here on the first floor of the Old Courthouse Museum, which is open daily. We have a bit of the home front and medicine, some of the military decorations, a lot of local newspaper pages up on the walls. The Yankee Boy cannon, a toy built by the Faywicks in Sioux Falls, to a little piece of trench that you can walk through where you can see Allied and German weapons and equipment and uniforms. We opened April 6, 2017, the 100th anniversary of the United States entry into the war. And World War I sometimes think is best described as a bar fight between a couple people that spreads to include the whole world. We think of it as something that's just happening in Europe, and certainly a lot of it was, but it also was in Africa, the Middle East, the Pacific Islands, off the coast of South America. It was a war that happened worldwide, and America got dragged into it, although she tried to stay out for years. World War I is 100 years ago, but it isn't really that long ago for a lot of us. Both my grandfathers were in World War I. There's a lot of people I know, surprisingly, who were involved in the World War. One of our staff was doing research, and he's just flipping pages in the Argus Leader and finds an article about the first Sioux Falls boy gassed in France, and it was his great-grandfather, and he was surprised. He didn't know that. So I think as you come, there's all kinds of local connections. We got a picture on the wall over here of the Yankee Boy cannon, and it's 3 little boys by the last name of Muckow laying on their stomachs firing their little cannon at the Kaiser target, and in the background is the Faywick flyer that we have out in the hallway, and it's just the whole exhibit's full of little connections like that. We have a pilot's uniform from Fred Christofferson, a one-time editor of the Argus Leader, who was a pilot, bomber pilot during the war. So there's a lot of local connections to stuff. The World War I, the Great War, is an exhibit on the first floor of the Old Courthouse Museum. The Old Courthouse Museum is open daily from 8 to 5 and Thursday evenings till 9. And admission's free, and you're welcome to come and visit anytime.
Thanks, Bill. And the Old Courthouse Museum has lots of great stuff to see. It's a great time of year to head down there and enjoy downtown Sioux Falls. As for us, if there's anything you missed that you want to see again, well, all you got to do is head over to siouxfalls.org or check us out on YouTube. And we'll be back here next month to tell you all about what's going on all around the departments in the City of Sioux Falls.